Hi, everyone. Welcome to Recovery Season 2, the new normal, Episode 6. Thank you so much for tuning in again this morning. I'm your host, Alain Kapatashungu. In this episode, I'm grateful to speak to someone that I've been following for a while. We're just chatting a little bit about it before we get started with the recording. A leader within our industry, Jacobi, co-president at Windermere Real Estate, and he's based in Seattle, Washington. But Obi, how you doing this morning, first of all?
I'm good. I am really good. I've got my niece is getting married this weekend, so we're
Congratulations, Mazel
full
Tov.
family celebration mode.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That is the best news you can have
Yeah.
as an uncle. But first, here's a quick bio on Obi before we get started with the question. So, as I've mentioned, Obi served as a co-president of Windermere Real Estate. It's based in Seattle. So Windermere Real Estate is a family-owned business, and Obi brings a second-generation leadership to the company. And I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about it as well later on. As a co-president, Obi helped facilitate Windermere's growth into one of the largest and most respected regional real estate brands in the country. I've had the opportunity to speak with some of those guys. I love what those guys are doing over there at Windermere. And in addition to his guidance within the company as it pertains to business strategies, Obi oversees as well operations for 7 family-owned Windermere offices. We're going to dive deeper into that. He's going to give us some advice and insight as it pertains to what those guys are doing over there. So, Obi, if you are ready, we can get started.
I'm ready. Thanks.
Awesome. So, first question that we usually ask Obi is, can you walk us through your typical quote-unquote work day during this crisis?
Absolutely not. I have no idea what I do. So it's, it's pretty interesting. I feel like I need to update my bio. Our family currently owns about 50 offices in almost every state that we're. So our company's in 10 states, and so we probably have offices in 8 of them.
That's awesome.
So it's pretty interesting. The pandemic was, I think there were so many different phases to it that when it first rolled out, our typical day was in a whole lot of, I wouldn't say crisis mode, but I would say, trying to figure out things like PPE, and how do we keep our people safe, and what are the protocols for the consumers, and what do we talk about with our staff, and so, getting used to Zoom, and, it was all just very new, and it morphed into a whole lot of these Zoom meetings where you don't, in a typical day, you have a break between your meetings, or you stand up and walk around. So I think it took a lot of us a long time to figure out that, okay, I got to go for a walk, or I got to push pause in between somehow. And so, so our typical day changed, from trying to figure out what was going on to then trying to manage through, and really give our people the right tools to succeed, and whatever that looked like. So it was a whole lot of meetings is my typical day.
I can definitely relate to that. Absolutely, I can definitely relate to that. So as a co-president of Windermere, I was curious about it. So how did you stay on top of, because you not only have your staff, but also have your agents and their clients. Like, how did you try at least manage to stay on top of it all?
Yeah, there's a blessing in all of this, and part of it is the connectivity of Zoom or other platforms, Teams and things like that. And so as we got a little more into a rhythm, the way we were connecting with our people, well, at individual office levels, our managers were calling everybody every day, all the time, and so it was just kind of pick up the phone. Hey, how are you feeling? How are you getting along? And then as a company, we launched, we have a lot of assets under our control that we don't do a great job at promoting.
Got it.
We're not a very chest beaty company, and we just don't, we don't talk about our tools enough. We talk,
Okay.
We have classes and we have an education or pro dev department, but this gave us an opportunity to launch. We launched a Mondays with Matthew Gardner, our economist. So every Monday we had a company-wide Zoom call and he'd get on and talk about the economy.
That's
then
awesome.
we'd have Tuesdays with Todd, who is our tech trainer, and so we'd have a Tuesdays, so every day of the week we had a company-wide webinar that you could jump on and learn about things that might affect you, either the economy or tools that you can use to succeed. So, hey, let's teach people Matterport in a way that's a little bit different, or let's teach listing, stuff. And so
that is awesome.
We felt like we were getting much better participation across the board. We have a good example is we have a luxury breakfast in Seattle that we have about 150 people attend on a monthly basis.
Wow.
We were able to launch it company-wide, and now we have 450 people attending luxury and really learning from each other, and then cross-marketing to each other. So our connectivity went through the roof, which was fantastic. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is really, really awesome. In your opinion, as we go through this pandemic, we're still going through it right now. What is the one thing, what is the one element that was overlooked before COVID, and now you just feel like this thing is here to stay now? This is undeniable. This is it. It's going to be here for a while. What is that one thing for you?
Yeah, I think it's really weird because we've gone through so many different phases. And different, being so spread out and different ability to connect, different markets, they were able to keep their offices open all the time. Other markets, they weren't able to go anywhere near it. Right. And so the one thing that I think was really important is people crave connectivity.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, when there was so much uncertainty about, in-person behavior, we all went to Zoom and we had through the roof participation in that connectivity. And then what we're finding now is as places are back open, people crave the personal connection to their cohorts in the office. And I think that buying and selling population never really lost it. They really want a handheld, right? And it can't be held over a computer. So for us, I think that the silver lining is we were able to connect through these platforms. And then now we're seeing people really want, the very first concert that's going to happen is going to be outrageous. People are going to lose their mind.
Agreed. I completely agree.
Yeah. So I can't wait for our holiday party because people are just going to be like, woohoo!
I agree. I feel like it's been people have been I completely agree. Even you can see a few events happening here and there in Paris, and you see the anticipation is crazy. You can have a coffee, something like that, opening up, and I think you can have maybe 20 or 30 people there, and then you'll have 150 people show up, and then the owner will be like, what am I going to do? When I'm going to put all these people? People are really anticipating to get back to that. I completely agree.
Yeah,
absolutely. To speak a little bit about what you guys are doing on a real estate level, which you touched on a little bit early on. So whether it's here in Paris and frankly throughout Europe, we are seeing and experiencing record low housing inventory. So you have a lot of people moving from Paris now and going down south just because they feel like they can have better inventories, at least a chance to have some inventory in the south of France. So everything in Europe, everything in Paris is tipped in sellers' favor. And I was wondering, you at the arm of the company as well, can you tell us a little bit about what the agents are doing on the Windermere side to understand the mindset of their potential sellers and in this current market? What are they doing on that? End?
It's a great question. We're seeing it in because of our geographic reach. We're seeing the same thing you're seeing, which is second home markets and places like that are just exploding.
Absolutely.
I was talking to somebody at the wedding party yesterday. And he said, house listed at 1.8 and sold for 2.8.
Oh my God.
It's getting ridiculous.
Wow.
So the counseling is incredibly important. Both from a buyer standpoint and a seller standpoint. And, we've had to, especially through all the social unrest over this past year, we've really had to work hard at talking to our sellers and buyers about things like love letters. Hey,
Absolutely.
let's not write love letters. That doesn't
Yes.
work. This isn't an emotional thing that we're trying to pick the right person for the house. It's
Yes.
not the right
Yes.
thing. So we lean, we're lucky. We've had the opportunity to work with Matthew Gardner for 25 years.
Got it.
He's our economist. And so we spend a lot of time with statistics and economics, talking about where the market's going, where it is currently, where it's been, where it is, and where it's going.
Absolutely.
So we can really counsel our sellers appropriately. We lean on things like our tech stack to push out real-time CMAs, that are dynamic, so people know what their values really are. So,
awesome.
We're just kind of trying to lean on all the tools we can and then counsel them. Luckily, we're a little bit luckier in that a franchise model has the ability to lean on the individual owners who care deeply about their offices. And so our kind of, instead of trying to train 8,000 people, we really got to train the managers and our staff and let them go after their people.
Agreed.
And so that's kind of our approach.
Absolutely. Agreed. This is a question that a lot of our customers, but also our audience, were curious about as well. And we always like to ask this to our guests. What advice would you give to someone starting in a business right now? Like, is this a good time to get started? What advice would you give to a new agent getting started right now?
It's funny. It's a great question because I love when I hear people that say, "Oh yeah, I started in 2007 or 2006," and they're still here. You're like, "Wow, you really figured it out. It worked." So, I don't know that there's ever a bad time to start. I think the key, I'm sure this sounds kind of cliche, but really it's who's your mentor manager? What's your database look like? How much are you touching your people in ways like the pandemic was fantastic because we were able to call and have relationships with people on a much deeper thing that had nothing to do with real estate. And that's the connection I think all of our people should have. And that's what I would say to somebody coming up is, hey, just treat your people right. This isn't a one-time transaction. This is a lifetime relationship.
Absolutely.
And so if you spend time cultivating relationships, you can't help but be successful. And so that's, I guess, probably my one bit of advice is cultivate deep relationships and don't treat it as a one-time thing. That's
actually a great advice for me because I get to do a couple of these interviews and I get to speak with not only broker CEOs and president like yourself, but also really top producing agents out there. And this is the same dynamic that keep on coming back between those who are actually being successful through hard times like this and those who are frankly just failing. It goes back to really figuring out and reaching out to people on a much deeper level than just, hey, I have a home to sell and I can represent you, or you have a home to buy and I can represent you. And those who are really figuring out that human aspect, because as you know, we love to build technology in real estate, which is awesome. And I think it's something that's definitely helpful. But I always go back to this aspect that real estate has been, will be, and always be a human first business. And those who actually keep that aspect in mind going through this pandemic, I figured that those are the ones winning right now because they went beyond just, hey, I can sell your home or I can help you buy one. They really build connection, build relationships. So I think your advice there is a great advice, definitely.
Yep, agreed.
Absolutely. So this is a more personal, directed to you. What are some of the lessons that you have learned throughout this crisis on a personal level and on a business level that you could share with us?
Yeah, well, I've always been fairly good at taking time off and things like that. That's awesome. What I think that this has taught us, though, is that if our connectivity and our work life is now on this screen, that you can work incredible hours and really get drained.
Agreed.
And so I think the thing, is for me is, hey, go for a walk outside, go
Absolutely.
enjoy some sunshine, which is hard to do in Seattle, but when you can. And then secondly, I think the importance of, I've got friends and family and stuff like that all over the place. And when you're in your busy life, you kind of forget to call everybody.
Absolutely.
And I think what this gave us the ability to do is check in with people and have those relationships that they're already your friends. I mean, why aren't we talking about?
Yes.
So personally, I think those were kind of two of my personal is go outside and take a walk and then continue calling my friends and stuff. And then from a business standpoint, there's an incredible amount of money pouring into the real estate space to try and solve a problem that isn't a problem.
Yes.
I
love it.
Yeah, and some of the products are really awesome that have come through this, and whether they're going to be the longevity of the products are going to be here or not, I don't know. But it's given us the ability to kind of we've had a bridge loan program forever, but we just kind of put it a little bit on the side. It does okay, but this has given us kind of the rethought of, hey, let's really launch some of this stuff, concierge programs and all sorts of other financial packages. And so that's, some of the stuff we're working on. We're in pilots prior to the pandemic, and now we're just kind of press and go, which is pretty fun.
That is awesome. Just going to get back to what you just shared there earlier about getting away from the screen. It's funny how when you actually go to the office, like you just have this dynamic where you can, go to the office physically, sit there, clock in, do whatever you need to do, and then go home. But the line becomes so blurry when everything is happening at home, because I think it's really key what you shared there about going out for a walk. I think when this pandemic started, I found myself almost really being depressed because I couldn't make the difference between am I working now or am I at home now? Like, what am I supposed to do? And then unfortunately, you've been able, I just figured what you just said there. I started to kind of go out for work again or go to play basketball, something like that. Like that created some kind of a separation because I completely agree. Like you don't know when you start and you don't know when you finish.
Yep.
And that could be really, really, really blurry.
Yep. No question.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to get back on a real estate question, I was also wondering, still talking about the market that is tipped to in sellers' favor. What are some of what are the agents doing at Windermere in terms of listing presentations to reassure sellers that they are competent to help them evaluate? As you said, you have a home for 1.8 going for 2.8. Like what are they doing to kind of reassure the sellers that they can help them evaluate multiple offers, situations like that?
It's a great question. And I honestly, I don't have a great answer for you. I can tell you, I was an agent in the early 2000s, about 5 years, and we had a lot of multiple offers in that time frame.
Okay.
It led up, to the 04, 05, 06 market. So it led up to pretty crazy stuff like we're seeing now. And so as an agent and as a manager, we created, I know our people do today, but lots of spreadsheet tools and things like that to help people walk through an offer. And so, I think I would talk about all the ins and outs of what an offer's pitfalls could be.
Yes.
Low appraisals, financing, inspections, things like that.
Exactly.
And I'd have my sample spreadsheet and say, hey, here's what it's going to look like. And I'll walk you through that through every offer, right? And we're going to talk about the pros and cons and all that. I know that our agents get a lot of training on it. I just don't sit in the meetings with them. So
yes, that's awesome. That is awesome to know that they get training on it. That is what you need. That is what you need that is what needs to happen. So that's awesome to know that's actually happening. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting because back to the love letters thing, we have a thing in our company called Standards of Practice, and it's a higher ethical standard than what, like a national association would put out there.
Got it.
And so we have monthly meetings. One representative from every office comes to a monthly meeting and talks about issues in market, current issues in market.
Awesome.
So
That is awesome.
whether that's somebody taking early offers before their offer date, or talk about love letters or things like that. And so they as a group talk it through, like what is the real life implication of what's going on in the market. And then we put that information out to all of our agents so they can learn from it. And they talk about it in their weekly meetings. So
that is awesome.
I think they're kind of learning from each other in instances like listing appointments and what's working and what isn't. And one of our core values is collaboration in our company. And so I kind of think that's probably how they're doing it.
Awesome. That is awesome. See, you weren't in a meeting, but you were in a meeting because it feels like the right answer. So
yeah, totally.
Thanks for sharing that one with us. To kind of finish us off, Avi, I was wondering, what are some of the projects, things that you are really excited about that you're working on for the remainder of the year at the company?
I think unfortunately, there's a lot of uncertainty because of the amount of money pouring into the market out there. And so we're meeting with a lot of really great companies that want to talk to us about either joining Windermere or something like that.
Awesome.
And so I think we firmly believe in our business is all about relationships.
Absolutely.
If we can partner with people or help people or do whatever, we're here to build entrepreneurs. That's like our only job in life.
I love it.
And so I'm pretty excited about hopefully some new relationships and things like that.
Awesome. That is awesome. Thank you, Obi.
Thank you for having me. This has been fun. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So everyone, this was Obi Jacobi. This week's recovery with him is done. You can catch this episode on YouTube and on all platforms streaming podcasts as always. And remember, in the recovery, don't just get back to the same place, but strive to get to a better place. Thank you, everyone. Obi, it was a pleasure. I'm happy that we finally got to connect. This was a real treat for me. Thanks for making the time today.
Me too. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a good day ahead.
Bye-bye.